Chapter 8 The Case of the Mysterious Messages. Mamma mia! What happened here? Aldo said as he pulled his cleaning cart into the room and looked around. I looked around too, and what I saw was almost as scary as Halloween. The room was a mess. On the floor were scraps of paper, yarn, buttons, beads, markers, and crayons. On top of the tables were scissors and overturned glue bottles, and was glitter glistening on the floor like snow. Eek, 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 I squeaked. Boing, 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 Og twanged. Otto leaned on his broom and shook his head. I can tell Mrs. Brisbane wasn't here today. She never leaves her room messy at the end of the day. That's for sure, I agreed. Aldo didn't have much time to talk. He was too busy sweeping and spraying and scrubbing and mopping up the room. He stopped when he saw the stack of cards. Oh, they're making cards for Mrs. Brisbane. Good idea, he said. I'd like to send her a card myself. Me too, I squeaked. Boing, boing, Og agreed. After the room was in order, and the art supplies neatly stacked on Mrs. Brisbane's desk, Aldo took out his lunch and pulled a chair close to Og's tank in my cage. When he finished eating, he went over to Mrs. Brisbane's desk, took a piece of paper, and wrote something on it. He folded it in half. Then he wrote on a smaller piece of paper and stuck it on top of the folded paper. Now the substitute will include my card with the others, Aldo said. Can you write one for me? I squeaked. Aldo usually seems to understand me, but that night he didn't. Well, I've got to run, he said. I'll be late getting home tonight, and I have to study for a test. Then he looked around the room, but at least the room was clean. Yes, Aldo, you did a great job, I told him. I meant it too. Aldo is very, very, very good at his job. Thanks, Humphrey, Aldo said. He wheeled his cart out of the room and turned off the light. Luckily, a big full moon was making the room nice and bright. It had been a difficult day, but I was feeling brighter myself. Og, I think I'll check out those cards, I said, after Aldo's car left the parking lot, and maybe I'll get more clues about what happened to Mrs. Brisbane. Boing, boing, Og said. I'm not sure if he thought my idea was good or if he was just excited about his froggy food sticks. I took my usual path to get to Mrs. Brisbane's desk and had no trouble. I made it, Og, I told my friend, who was splashing around in his tank. I looked up. The stack of cards was about 6 hamsters high. There was a bright yellow card with sparkles near the bottom. It was sticking out a bit from the rest of the pile, so I decided to grab it and pull. That was a big mistake, because as the card came out of the stack, the whole pile tumbled down around me and on me. Luckily, paper doesn't weigh too much. I wasn't hurt, just surprised. Still, I now had the chance to look at all the cards and possibly gather more clues about Mrs. Brisbane's disappearance. The yellow card with sparkles was from Rosie. The front had red hearts and bright buttons. Inside it said, Mrs. Brisbane, I miss you the most. Come back and I'll pop a wheelie for you. Love, Rosie. The last part was in a big red heart. I'm not sure Mrs. Brisbane would be happy to see Rosie pop a wheelie for her. That's a trick she can do with her wheelchair, but Mrs. Brisbane made her promise not to do it in school anymore. I guess Rosie meant she'd just be happy to see our teacher back in the classroom. Then I looked at the blue card. It was from Small Paul. On the front was a drawing of a rocket. Inside it said, I hope you'll be launched back into room 26 soon. I miss you, Paul F. Eek, I squeaked. Had Mrs. Brisbane been launched into outer space? Next, I looked at the one that was bright pink. It had lots of fancy writing on the outside and the inside. Dear Mrs. B, when you come back to room 26, I promise to help you all the time. You don't have to worry about anything, because I'll be here for you now and forever. If you ever need something, please call me. Your true friend for all time, Holly. Thomas's card was covered with red, white, and blue yarn. It read, You're the best teacher in the universe, Thomas. Sometimes Thomas exaggerates, but this time I thought he was right. But I was shocked when I read what he wrote at the bottom. P.S. I am the best juggler in the class. I can juggle for hours without dropping a ball, just like my dad. That wasn't true. Why did a nice boy like Thomas make up things like that? The next card was white with fancy purple letters. It said, Sometimes I forget things, but I never forget all the nice things you do for us. Come back soon. Love, Phoebe. I felt a little pang for Phoebe. She was forgetful, but she was also extremely nice. Kelsey's card had a drawing of a ballet dancer on it. Inside it said, "Hope you'll be up on your toes soon, from Kelsey." There was also a very plain orange card with blue letters. No glitter, no beads, no buttons. It said, "I'm not good at fancy words, but I miss you. Just Joey." Joey's card was nice and simple. I knew Mrs. Brisbane would like it because it sounded like him. "Og, these cards are so nice," I shouted to my friend. Our friends did a great job. We'll stop there and pick it up tomorrow.